was the Richmond and Danville Railroad, which went down to southwest Virginia towards Danville. So 3 companies came from Louisa County, 2 from Amelia County, 1 from Prince Edward County where Farmville is, 1 company from Charlotte County, 1 company from Goochland County, and 1 company from the city of Richmond, which were known as the Richmond Sharpshooters. Now the men are all equipped. You see the different variety of uniforms. It said that a pair of pants would last a man about a month. As you can see, if everything you did, you wore these same pants that last about a month. A jacket will last about 3 months. These men are wearing different coats. With the second man there from the front has on a frock coat. Most of the men are wearing short jackets issued out of Richmond. The Richmond Clothing Bureau, RCB, would have material brought in, and they would cut out the material, and the women would come from around the city of Richmond to come in and get the material. And they would take it home. It was a 6-pattern jacket, 6 pieces and 2 pieces for the sleeves. They would take them home and they would sew them together, and they would bring them back, and it would be inspected to make sure the quality was good. They are lined with cotton. Cotton was abundant, and this jean cloth, which you can come and take a look at later, this jean cloth is a woven cloth of wool and cotton. Wool's in short supply by this time. But now the men are being better equipped by the Richmond Clothing Bureau, a Richmond depot system. And the women of Richmond are sewing these uniforms. They don't have any companies. Tailors were making uniforms. Women were making uniforms. A family that had a mother and 3 daughters. 1 daughter would do all the chores, and the other 3 women would sew uniforms. They made good money by doing that, paid by the piece. We'll talk about different equipment. Do you want to have 2 men step out that have varying types of equipment? Sergeant, step out. You come forward. You'll see different colors in uniforms. They would write home and say, if you can provide me with shirts, I can sell every one of them. So they would write home, the mothers would send them shirts, anything like that. Sergeant here, weapon 58 caliber, infield, provided by the British. Your pants are dark, called Richmond gray.
The jean and straight logwood dyed.
Logwood dyed. A dark color like that. As you can see, this man has, are they linen? They're linen pants made of linen. Linen is the strongest material of all that you have and the most expensive. He's wearing a frock coat of brown cloth that's been dyed. These jackets, to me, they look like they're turning green from the oxidation of the dye that's in them.
See my armpit? This was when I first got this made this jacket. It was a dark bluish gray when I first made it. You see how it's oxidized? It's vegetable dyes and it oxidized from the sun.
I for the infantry. Eagle buttons, federal buttons on his coat, breastplate, roller, no, just a regular civilian buckle. He's got a Masonic emblem on his. This is called, see that, what do we call that? Like a snake's tongue, right? It's called a fork tooth belt. All kinds of different belt plates. No man is wearing a kepi. They've all been thrown away. Most of these men were farmers. The 9 of the 10 companies came from farmlands. Very few clerks in there, but the men quickly threw kepis away and went to the slouch hat. You want to turn to the rear. Canteen with a gray cloth on it. My canteen, a federal captured canteen. A haversack, a tarred haversack. This man has no haversack. He has a tin drum canteen. Cartridge box. He's wearing a cartridge belt with his. This man is wearing a cartridge belt. I'm wearing mine just on the belt. Cartridge box is holding 40 cartridges. The cups. You had a cup. You ate out of the cup. You cooked in the cup, and you drank out of the cup. Bayonets, infield rifle. Springfield. Is that a 61? 61. 1853 infield. 5.77. 63, 61 Springfield, 58, 1855 Springfield, also 58 caliber. So a variety of weapons. Explain to them the cartridge.
This is the Confederacy, besides the P-53 British Enfield rifle musket, which became the standard weapon for the Confederacy. They imported over 600,000 during the war. They also got a lot of their ammunition from Britain. This is the British round that's designed for the British muskets, and it's got 6 to 8 grains of powder in it. And what's kind of unique about it, they would roll it, and there's a stiffener in there called a powder bag where the powder would be, and the mini ball was here with the point of the projectile inside. So they would take it, tear it, pour it, and then it's dipped in tallow, which is a blend of tallow and beeswax, and it would just fit right in there and it just slide right down into the mouth. That's how they loaded.
So here you can't imagine the noise that, of the firing of the weapons. To go back, thank you. Return. We invite you to come into the camp. We'll let you hold the weapons, look at them. You know, here at General Stewart, they had arrived on July the 1st. A lot of action had taken place. Ewell's Corps was assigned to come around and capture Culp's Hill. They didn't receive the order. They came around here. Now that field was open. There was a cornfield. The Federals, as I'll show you a drawing of this hill, it was wide open. It looked just like this. They were under cannon fire, and they swung around like a hinge on a gate, and they crossed that creek, which is Rock Creek here, and they crossed that creek and water up to chest high, because there was a mill pond here where there was a mill. So they dammed the water up, and so the creek is a whole lot deeper than it is today. They crossed that while the Federals were firing at them, and they swung around like a wheel. Stewart's brigade was on the very left, so they had to swing way out and come around. Not until 5 o'clock were they given the order to attack this hill. This is 5 o'clock on July the 2nd, the second day of the battle. And they wondered why they had waited so long. And remember, 5 o'clock is there 6 o'clock today, so they only had like 3 hours of daylight left. And they attacked the hill. What they found was some open earthworks. You want this, Mr.
Okay.
Let's do one thing before I give you a lecture on the Stewart's Brigade. You often ask, well, why are we coming here? The 23rd Virginia has been coming here for 38 years, with the exception of 1 year, the 125th anniversary, which was the same weekend. So we've been coming here. Well, why do we come here? We come here to honor our Confederate ancestors, which is their memories being destroyed, especially in Virginia, and now about to happen in Arlington with the removal of the Confederate monument there. But so we'll start at the end there, start with the captain, and he'll tell you why we're coming here. He'll tell you about his ancestors.
My third great granddad was in the 50th Georgia Infantry and 12th Georgia Militia.
My ancestor was in 18th North Carolina, the 32nd North Carolina, 50th North Carolina, 51st North Carolina, 2nd North Carolina Cavalry, and I had 5 that served in Company K of the 69th Pennsylvania Philadelphia Brigade.
My grandfather's in the 5th, 10th, 52nd, 55th, and 33rd All Virginia.
1st Maryland, U.S. My ancestors served in the 23rd and 33rd Alabama Infantry that fought in the Western Theater, the 15th Alabama Infantry that fought right here on this battlefield over at Little Round Top, and then the 1st Georgia Infantry and the 5th Georgia Cavalry that fought in the Western Theater.
My ancestors were in the 21st Virginia Infantry, the 55th North Carolina Infantry, and the 20th Battalion Virginia Heavy Artillery.
27th Virginia.
My ancestors were in the 23rd Virginia Infantry, 14th Virginia Infantry, which was in Armistead across the field here, the 56th, which was also over there in Armistead, and the 57th Virginia. And my wife's ancestor was killed here in the 33rd Virginia here in the Walkers, the old Stonewall Brigade. He was killed here at Gettysburg.
Order.
So what I was saying, Stewart captured these works here. You call them trenches, but the works here. The Federals had withdrawn to try to stem the attack by General Early at Cemetery Hill. So that they found the trenches empty here, the earthworks here. And the Federals twice tried to drive them out of there, but they never were successful in driving them away from there. Now the men would be given the charge, the command to charge bayonets and go up the hill and recapture the top of Culp's Hill. General Stewart and another general, they complained that that was just a suicidal attack, but they went ahead anyway. They got to within a few feet of the Yankees, but the Yankees had double lines of trenches up there on top of the hill. And many of the men surrendered rather than turn around and be shot in the back as they were retreating. So rather than die, they just surrendered there. So the 23rd lost a lot of men to surrender here. Later, they would attack across Pardee Field. If you look through there, you'll see an opening at the top of the hill is Pardee Field. There, the 1st Maryland Confederate and the 1st Maryland U.S. would see each other. They would recognize each other across the battlefield. So there were relatives and friends fighting against each other on Pardee Field. This was the longest continuous battle here at Gettysburg. 7 hours they fought here continuously. The 10th Virginia would fight across this swale to prevent a federal attack across here. One federal division said they fired 250,000 rounds here. That's a whole division, which is 5 or 6 regiments fired that many rounds here. And the lie that the Yankees came down and drank water that spring along with the Confederates is just a lie. The Yankees may have drank water there before the Confederates got here, and they may have drank water there after the Confederates left, but they didn't drink water there on the same night of the battle together. Both sides weren't getting water there. That was just a rumor that was started post-war. So after the fighting, Stewart's brigade was marched back across Rock Creek. They fell into the rear guard of the Army of Northern Virginia, and due to torrential rains, they were ready for the Federals to attack, and the Federals never attacked. For 2 days they stood in line of battle waiting for the Federals to attack. The water was at their back. They couldn't go anywhere. The Federals could have swept the Confederate Army away, but they never attacked. And then when the water receded, the men marched back across the Potomac, back into Virginia's shores, back into Maryland, and then into Virginia. And they went back into camp at Culpeper Courthouse. Was it a draw? 23,000 soldiers here. I think it was a total here, wounded. But you know, this was the largest all-out battle here. 3 days of battle. 70,000 Confederates against 120,000 Union soldiers. So the odds were stacked against them. And when you fight an aggressive war like Lee was used to fighting aggressively. He wanted to fight an offensive battle. When you fight an offensive battle, you should outnumber the enemy at least 2 to 1. But he was half. He was 1/2 to 1 fighting against the Federal Army. Had Johnson's division broke the lines here, captured Culp's Hill, placed their cannons on top of the hill, and fired into the Federal rear. Had the breakout occurred in the mid-center where Lee attacked, the Federal Army would have been broken in half. It had been a great Confederate victory. It didn't turn out that way. Jeff Stewart was riding around. One of his soldiers fired a gun for some reason, and the Federal cavalry intercepted him. Stewart was going to ride around and come into the back of the Federal lines and break the Federal Army in half. But the Federal Army was able to intercept him because one man fired a weapon. Whether it went off accidentally, we don't know, but that's how they discovered Jeff Stewart coming around to the rear. So the whole battle hinged on several things here. So we invite you into the camp, ask any questions you have. And that pretty much concludes our demonstration. Oh, you're welcome. Any questions you have? Not here. You want a bayonet on it or no bayonet? Look to your shoulder. Right in the crook of your shoulder. Put your eye down through there. Find this top sight.
you guys didn't have.
Y'all want to help me get this rabbit?
We were talking about earlier. Whether they had actual like
Whatever.
And it's gonna be a delicious rabbit when I get through with it.
I can sit in the car and wait for you.
You ever had rabbit before?
You haven't? Mommy has. I don't think you have.
This is the good part right here. This is the tenderloin.
there were no barracks, then
Your mama
they
probably
said
fed you rabbit when you were little.
Yeah, when they were on the campaign and were marching and maneuvering, they just what would they have on their back?
Good meat on. A real Confederate wouldn't throw this away. He'd make a soup or something with it.
Food in here. This is called an avocado. That's religious stuff.
Ambrosia. Spirit over there.
Well, y'all looking at my hair tonic? Hey, that's hair tonic. That stuff works like a charm. They sold it in the town I went through. See how it's growing my hair back? Back to horse hair is old time magic. Hook with it too, it'll make your hair grow back. This is the best part right here. This is
No, I'm the city girl. New York. That's what we Queens, New York. I was born a Yankee, but I moved to Maryland. Yeah. I'm a Southern and that.
Maryland's one of the states.
Yeah.
That looks good, doesn't it?
Kind of eastern part of Maryland, very pro South.
Oh, I got 2 legs left.
You guys set up here like you have this camp set up like all the time, or was this like a thing because July 1st?
We're here this weekend.
That leg got shot up.
Yeah, but the Confederacy was
Might not eat that one.
I was sitting up there, and the mosquitoes were bothering me, so I put my shoulder back over my face.
Flag. Are you guys doing firing demos this weekend?
Yeah, we are. We just did one. We'll do another one at 3.
Okay.
And then one tomorrow at 1 and 3.
Stop back tomorrow.
Williamsport, 123 miles. Yeah, we come down here a couple times a year. I like to come out in the fall too. Go through the cemetery, pay my respects to the dead. There's something to Southbury there too.
Yo, your phone's going off.
Okay.
Thank you.